Welcome back to, don't know what to call these, travel vlogs essentially, or it is travel to a degree, but this is all about Wardley versus Dubois, and not just that, actually the state of boxing, or my opinion on the state of boxing at the moment. But yeah, managed to get down to the Wardley Dubois press conference. I wasn't there for content or anything like that, just there to be in and amongst the environment. What I'd always say is, if you are a media outlet, regardless of scale, whether you're starting out or whether you're fully established in the game, always be at press conferences, weigh-ins, be around the media events, because these are important times to network, to talk to people, to get to know fighters, their camps, etc., etc. That is my piece of advice for anyone out there that wants to get into the game. Be where you can be and be visible. Don't be afraid, don't be nervous to make yourself known. If you need to ask questions, ask. People are very polite. It's a very welcoming industry. You can literally have a phone and a mic. It doesn't matter what type of equipment you've got, and you can make a name for yourself very quickly in this game. So that is my words of advice on that. In terms of the press conference itself, it's what I expected. A lot more was coming from the managers, or manager/advisor. So obviously Michael Offo, Magic, Team Wardley, and Sam Jones from Team Dubois. One thing I will say is they handled it very well, and they, meaning Sam Jones and co, in regards to the question marks that there obviously were around Don Charles's return into being the head coach, and obviously Daniel Dubois returning to him also. So there was a lot of questions there. They were handled very, very well, I must say, by that team and by Sam Jones in particular. Magic did a very good job at pushing some of those questions and really trying to get something out of them. And I think we got a very good exchange and a back and forth, which, you know, helped sell the fight. But I mean, when you've got two people, like we've already said, with 95% knockout ratio, but like for both of them, between them both, for both of them, however you want to say it, it is going to be an absolute barn burner of a fight. So the thing that I'm looking forward to next is obviously going to be fight week. So it's going to be the press conference there, the final weigh, and I think we'll have a bit more oomph from both of them. By oomph, I mean it was quite amicable, respectful, as you expect, apart from the no handshake at the end, which I did think was interesting. You know, Fabio Wardley being a gentleman he is, put his hand out for a handshake, and Daniel Dubois didn't engage. So I thought that was interesting. I expected them to shake hands. I couldn't quite tell if Daniel Dubois was being serious or not. He kind of smiled and like laughed about it a bit, but it looked like he was very serious at the time. He just shot straight off, obviously probably gone straight to training, and Fabio Wardley went down to do some media bits with some of the outlets at Ring Magazine, etc. So it is always good to be in and amongst that as well. Magic I get on with very well, very, very cool guy, loads of time. Same with Sam Jones. I do like these people. I think these people are just as important as the promoters, as the fighters, because they help advise and help shape your career. And if you're not necessarily much of a talking fighter and a self-promoter, it is good to have these people in your corner that will have your back, and people that you can trust. And trust, again, you would have seen that in a clip from my Instagram that I had with Fabio Wardley, and if not, that will be linked in the description down below. Little plug for myself there, but he was talking about the importance of trust and the fact that his team have remained the same since day one, and it definitely has. So I think that's always important, and that's obviously where the question marks, or the questions were, from Team Wardley to Team Dubois, was around that element of trusting in that same team that have been there with you from the beginning. As we know, Daniel Dubois has had a couple of changes in his career, but he seems to be back at home and comfortable with Don Charles in his corner. It'll be good to see what happens. I do have my opinion on who I think will win. I do think it's very hard to discredit and write off Fabio Wardley because of what he's achieved. He has done the unthinkable, whether it was the last round and he's losing the whole fight, or whether it's an early shutout, or whether it's just cruise control and a referee keeps a fighter in for too early and he gets the job done in later rounds. He's done it all. And Daniel Dubois has shown that he's only got a few losses, and he's lost to the best of the best, which is Alexander Usyk twice. And he's lost very early on in his career to a man named Joe Joyce. So I think, you know, all things considered, he's got a very good resume. There was today a comparison about resumes as well, which I think is interesting to look at. You do look at the more established names, you probably would say they would be on the record of Daniel Dubois, but again, you can't write off what is in front of Fabio Wardley, as he has taken on every challenge that's been in front of him, and it just so happens. And also there was an interview done by a guy, I'm laughing about this because you'll hear me and Magic in the background kind of like supporting, but also we was laughing with the guy. I actually forgot his proper name, but we just call him Madman TV, I believe is his channel. I know it's going for a rebrand, so by the time you see this it may have already changed, but shout out to that guy, Madman TV or Madman Boxing. You know, he's got loads of energy, such a enthusiastic guy. And the question posed to Magic was about Fabio Wardley being given the title as opposed to earning it, and Magic was very quick and right to come to the defense and say, no, that fight and that belt, the WBO belt, was won against Joseph Parker, which is correct, because Alexander Usyk did say he would fight the winner and then decided to vacate. Obviously there's been other things at play, injuries, etc., but that is essentially what happened. And then the man Fabio Wardley was then presented with that prestigious title off the back of defeating Joseph Parker, which makes sense anyway. But yeah, there's loads going on in boxing at the moment. That's just the state of play of things. I do, again, you can't discredit either one of them. And to be quite honest with you, it will be interesting to see what happens for that absolute banger of a fight that is coming up soon, because this schedule is getting crazy. Now, again, you can skip this part, but this is more about the general knowledge around boxing. Obviously, Zuffa Boxing have made some absolute waves. I did see a poster today, I'm not sure if it's concretely confirmed, around Alexander Usyk signing for Zuffa Boxing. Obviously, it's a rumour and it's been a speculation for a while. And, you know, it's something that wouldn't surprise anyone, to be quite honest. Conor Ben, a huge acquisition for them. Very, very big acquisition for them. What happens with Matchroom now? Eddie Hearn posted a picture, chess not checkers, so you know he's not going to lay down and allow this to rule over the business. And I think Frank Smith has been so articulate and so well delivered on this story, because he said, look, end of the day, they've still got a business to run that's global and they've got to push on, and that is exactly the truth behind it all. So that's something that they will continue to do. Also, Zuffa Boxing going in for all of the top talent out there, which makes sense. And I don't want to talk about this too much because I'm sure lawyers and stuff like that will get involved, not necessarily for me, but just around the situation. But you would have already seen it by now, the Frank Warren saga with Zuffa Boxing and a £1 billion lawsuit. A lot of money at play and a lot of money at stake for this lawsuit. Some I've seen have speculated, is this a attempt from Queensbury to try and recruit some funding, or is this like something they're entitled to and valid for? Again, got my own opinions, gonna keep them to myself. I do believe this is a very interesting time for boxing. And yeah, the state of play at the moment is crazy. Like, Netflix are huge players in boxing. You know, I am a person that, I don't necessarily represent the DAZN, but I stand by the DAZN, as they know. I promote a lot of their products, but Netflix, we cannot deny, are a huge player in that market. And they seem to be putting on the biggest fights. You had AJ Paul on there, you had Canelo Crawford to start, obviously. You've now got Fury versus Makhmudov. There's a question that AJ versus Fury, where would that fight happen? Should it happen? Would it be on the DAZN? I would like to think so, as they both are the DAZN fighters, but it could be on Netflix, you know what I mean? So it's a very interesting time at the moment. But yeah, I'm all for what's going on in boxing. I just love that there's a flow, literally, it's like week after week after week. You've barely got any room, and as Alfie Sharman so eloquently put it, you're just back up from air. Do you know what I mean? You've just back gathered yourself, and there's another fight week approaching. So very interesting to see what happens next, and all the broadcasters and promoters that are at play and jostling for that #1 spot. And essentially, who's working with Turkey at the moment? You know, it's Dana White for now, but will that change in the future? Will there be some more moves at play that we haven't heard of or we're not privy to? It's fun kind of being in this industry. But yeah, speaking of which, I am going to probably just crack on listening to some music, because I can't, as everyone knows, copyright is a dangerous thing on YouTube. Ain't no joke. So yeah, we'll wrap this up here. But next will be Cooper Ursu or Alfie Clegg down at York Hall or Derby. So you'll probably figure out where I am when I've posted a story, because I'll probably drop this before then. Yeah, it's a little bit of a talk. If you want more of these videos, let me know. I'm more than happy to just talk about different topics and what people want to discuss or find out whilst I'm traveling to and from different places. So hope you've enjoyed. I think a little bit my head's cut off, but that's just due to where the camera's positioned. And yeah, always aspire to inspire.